Can we talk about something that almost no one admits out loud, which is how much body image plays into our relationships? Because here's the truth. Your body changes, their body changes, attraction shifts, and suddenly the person who promised to love you through everything is acting distant, critical, or even cruel. So today, I've pulled together real Reddit stories where body image showed up in love. And I'm gonna talk to you first like I'm your best friend with no filter, and then I'm gonna put on my counselor hat to unpack deeper wounds, the attachment stuff, and the mental health layers behind what happened. Because body image in love is never just about the body. It's about safety, it's about honesty, and it's about respect. And I wanna start with a story that stopped me in my tracks. Because this wasn't about a sudden change in weight. This wasn't about someone letting themselves go. This was about a woman whose husband confessed after 9 years of marriage that he's never been attracted to her body. So let's dive into the story. Okay, the poster states, my 39-year-old female husband, 43-year-old male, told me he's not attracted to me because of my weight. She went on to write, the thing is, I've always been overweight, and I am actively currently trying and succeeding at losing weight. I cried because my weight is a real sore spot for me already. I said, I just feel so heartbroken that my own partner doesn't think I'm beautiful. And his response, do you want to be beautiful? And then he spoke at length about skin removal surgery. I am baffled. Forget attraction preferences. I haven't suddenly put on weight. I've always looked this way. So now I feel like I've been living a lie and honestly wasted my final fertile years of my life on someone who doesn't appreciate me, who has never appreciated me. Am I going crazy here? I'm oscillating between shame, heartbreak, and fury. She went on to write an edit after she wrote this, saying thanks for the heartfelt responses. To try to understand some questions, I don't currently have loose skin. If I keep losing weight, I may have some. I'm smaller than I was when he first met me, so no, I haven't met some weight threshold. Why now? Because I addressed the lack of intimacy that we've both been dodging talking about for years. I think I'm really just annoyed that if this has been the problem for him from the beginning, which it sounds like it is, then why drag it out? Some people have mentioned it being vague. Fair, but he's on Reddit and I'd rather keep it unidentifiable. Okay. Okay. Like, what? That's the moment when your heart drops into your stomach. Because it's not just about weight here, and you could tell this. It's about her feeling betrayed, unseen, and unloved for who she is. She's literally saying that she's smaller now than when they first met. So like, what? If she's smaller now than when she first met him, and this man had 9 whole entire years to say something, and now suddenly he drops this huge bomb on her, that's a lot. That's just crazy. And don't even get me started on him bringing up the freaking skin removal surgery when she doesn't even have loose skin yet. Like, sir, what? Are you clairvoyant or you're just cruel? Because that's not support at all. That's projection. He's inventing future problems that don't even exist yet just to justify his rejection in the present moment. To me, that's just crazy. And let's call this what it is, which is betrayal. If he was never attracted to her from the beginning, as the poster states, then he withheld the truth for 9 years. That's 9 years of intimacy, family, life building. And so she is right to feel like she wasted some of the best years of her life on someone who did not value her. So now let's slow it down a little bit and let me put my counselor hat on here and look at things through a counselor lens. Because for her, what I'm hearing is that this cuts right into an abandonment wound. I hear the fear underneath her when she's saying things like, if he doesn't find me attractive, he'll leave. And by her saying that right there, I hear the fear in her voice. And tied into that fear is shame. I hear her feelings of shame by hearing her say things like, maybe I was never enough. Maybe I was living a lie this whole time. And then for him, what I hear is he's an avoidant attachment. And instead of him saying things to her like, I feel disconnected or I'm struggling with intimacy, in his avoidant attachment way, he pins it all on her body. And that right there is a way of avoiding vulnerability. Because for avoidant people, it can feel easier to criticize than to admit their own struggles. And that seems like that's what he's doing in this situation. And as a counselor, I try to understand why people act the way they act or do the things that they do. And in this Reddit story, I feel like weight is just the excuse. It's not the problem. I feel like he could be struggling with maybe aging, maybe depression, or maybe even a low sexual desire. But instead of owning that, what he's doing is projecting it onto her. And that right there is deflection. It's not honesty. And after reading this, I'm realizing that this isn't about her body at all, because it's about betrayal and honesty. If he was never attracted to her, then he withheld that truth from her for 9 years. And that right there is not her body's fault. That is deception on his end. And there are so many layers of mental health here. For her, this kind of message can trigger things like body dysmorphia. It could trigger disordered eating. It could trigger depression or anxiety, because when your partner ties love to your body, it can spiral into self-hatred. And for him, this may be less about her and more about his own inner world. Maybe he's experiencing some type of midlife fears or some type of loss of attraction in general, or even fear of intimacy. But by him putting it on her, he's avoiding looking at himself. And in healthy relationships, attraction, it evolves. Bodies change. But what has to remain constant is respect, care, and admiration. Without those, comments like this don't repair intimacy. What they do is they weaponize it. So Reddit had some strong reactions to this Reddit story, as you can imagine, okay? So let's dive into some of this. One commenter said, if he wasn't attracted from the beginning, he lied to you for 9 years. And that's not your body's fault. That's dishonesty. And I want to say that's exactly right. The core wound here isn't weight, it's betrayal. Another commenter said, sounds like he used you for stability and now he wants to change the rules when you're at your most vulnerable. And that right there, that's conditional love. And conditional love feels like standing in quicksand. Another commenter said, you deserve someone who looks at you with love, not with a checklist. And that right there, that's the heart of it. Love that lasts isn't about measurements. It's about admiration and safety. Another commenter said, he's out here talking about skin removal surgery when she doesn't even have loose skin yet. That's wild. And honestly, that one cracked me up, because sometimes humor calls it like it is. He's projecting a problem that doesn't even exist, which proves right there that this was never about her body. It was about his lens. And if that wasn't painful enough, let's look at another story where body image, comparison, and disrespect all collide in the most humiliating way. So here's what this poster wrote. My 20 female boyfriend, 23 male, sided with another girl, 23 female, over me and made me feel humiliated. Last night, I was out to dinner with my boyfriend and a female friend, she's dating his best friend. While we were eating, she casually told me I should stop eating at night and lose some weight. What hurt me more was my boyfriend agreeing with her, saying, she's right, it's for your own good. I didn't say anything, but I felt completely humiliated. Then the topic of doing a mukbang came up. My friend said she talked to my boyfriend earlier and he said no, that I couldn't do it because I'm getting fat and would end up like a popular overweight streamer. They both laughed and I stayed silent again. I felt embarrassed, like he wasn't taking my stand. And to add to this, earlier that day, my boyfriend had used her perfume, a pocket one, after smoking. I casually asked about the scent on his wrist, and he denied it at first, and then he admitted that it was hers. It's not the first time that he's made comments about comparing me to her. He once said, "I don't have a body or height like hers," when I wanted to join them for work at an event. They refer to each other as brother and sister, but he listens to her more than me, makes decisions with her, and talks to her in ways that he never does with me. When I try to share how I feel, he says I'm overreacting or trying to control him. Am I being too sensitive? Or is this all a red flag and I need to stop ignoring it? Like, what? I'm trying to picture this because it sounds so messed up. Just imagine being at the table and hearing the person who's supposed to protect you. I mean, that's what your partner is supposed to do, right? So just imagine your partner join in with somebody, and instead of protecting you, they join in tearing you down. That's not just cruel right there, that's cowardly. And the craziness doesn't stop there, because earlier that day, she had wrote that she had smelled perfume on his wrist. It turns out that it was the same girl who he joined in tearing her down with. Like, what? He denied it at first and then he admitted it. He's compared her body to the other girl's body before, saying things like she doesn't have her height or shape. Wait, excuse me? Do you want a girlfriend or do you want a measuring tape? I'm confused here, because you can't build intimacy with somebody while you're actively comparing them to somebody else. Like, hello? And if you're so attracted to the other woman and you want her so badly, why are you with your girlfriend and not with that other girl? Is it because that other girl doesn't want you? And she even states that this is more than just one dinner, that this is a pattern. He sides with this girl, he listens to her more, he makes decisions with her, and when his girlfriend tries to speak up, what he does is he dismisses her and calls her too sensitive. That's not a partnership, that's plain disrespect on repeat. Y'all, I'm getting worked up here, so let's slow it down and let's break it down on what's happening here in a counselor lens, okay? So for her, I hear that this is tapping into a rejection wound. I hear this because she's asking things like, why am I never enough? Why is he comparing me to someone else? And underneath, I hear the shame that she feels, because I hear her saying things like, if I were prettier or thinner or taller, then maybe, just maybe he would choose me. And now let's switch to him for a minute, because I actually see a mix of immaturity and avoidance with him. Because instead of him protecting his partner, he joins in the crowd. And that's what I call relational betrayal. He is choosing social approval over emotional safety. And when he calls her too sensitive, what he's doing right there is called gaslighting, because it minimizes her experience and teaches her not to trust her own feelings. That's gaslighting right there. And this isn't just about weight. It's about comparison trauma, because when your partner constantly compares you to someone else, what happens is that your nervous system goes into survival mode. And your mind believes, I could be replaced at any moment. And when you believe this, it erodes trust and creates anxiety in your relationship. So for her, this could spiral into body shame. It could spiral into disordered eating. It could even spiral into hypervigilance around her partner's interactions with others. And for him, this behavior often comes from projection. He might not feel confident in himself, so he hides behind belittling jokes and brother and sister excuses with this other girl. It's also immaturity, because it's also emotionally unsafe for his girlfriend. So this is not her being too sensitive. This is about boundaries. A healthy partner protects your dignity, especially in public. They don't laugh at you, they don't compare you, and they don't dismiss you when you speak up. So when she asks, am I being too sensitive? The plain answer is no. She's being gaslit into believing that disrespect is normal. And here's what some commenters said. He doesn't see you as an equal partner. He's aligning with her over you. That's not a relationship, that's a triangle. And yes, in couples work, we call this triangulation, which is pulling a third person in as a way to avoid intimacy. Another commenter said, if he compares you to another woman once, That's already too many times. Respect means he protects your insecurities, not feeds them. This is exactly right. Relationships thrive when partners are each other's safe place. Another commenter said, this isn't about weight. It's about him being cruel and dismissive. You deserve somebody who has your back in every room. And that right there, that's the core truth. Body image isn't the weapon here, but the real wound is betrayal and lack of safety. Okay, and that's the thread that we're starting to see here. Body image becomes the excuse, but the real pain is the lack of protection, honesty, and care. Now, the next story might sound lighter at first because it's about jokes, but let me tell you, sometimes those jokes about your body can cut the deepest. So let's jump into this Reddit story. The Reddit poster wrote, my girlfriend always calls me fat as a joke. She says she's teasing, but it actually crushes me inside. I don't know how to bring it up without sounding too sensitive. Oh man, this one is a tough one. Because can you feel how heavy that is? The one person who's supposed to hype you up, who's supposed to love you, who's supposed to make you feel safe, is the one person poking at your deepest insecurity and then wrapping it up as, just kidding. Like, what? I just want to make this clear. If the person you love says it hurts, then it's not a joke. That's cruelty in a costume. And honestly, if it was funny, then both people would be laughing. And if only one person's laughing, then spoiler alert, that's bullying. That is not humor. And gosh, I hate how he's already second guessing himself by saying things like, I don't want to seem too sensitive, because that's how gaslighting works. They make you feel like you're the problem for being hurt instead of owning the fact that they crossed a line. And from a counseling perspective, this is a textbook example of microaggressions in relationships. Little comments that are framed as jokes, but they chip away at your partner's self-worth over time. And here's what's really happening. For him, I can see that is poking at a shame wound. He's already insecure about his body, and the jokes confirm his worst fear, that maybe I'm really unattractive and unworthy. And for her, the joking might be a cover for avoidance. Maybe she's using the humor to avoid intimacy or to mask her own discomfort with vulnerability, but the impact, it still lands as criticism. And constant exposure to jokes like this can actually lead to internalized shame, to body dysmorphia, and to anxiety and intimacy. Because if your safe person is pointing out your flaws, even with a smile on their face, your nervous system starts to believe that I am not safe anywhere. And that kills trust and intimacy in the long run. And the bottom line truth is, jokes are only jokes if they land funny for both people. If your partner says it hurts, you stop. Period. The end. Respect means that their insecurities are off limits. In fact, healthy love does the opposite. It protects the very parts of you that the world already tries to tear down. So Reddit has some strong takes on this, okay? So let's turn to the commenters. One commenter said, if the joke isn't funny for you, it's not a joke, it's bullying. And that's 100% true. Humor is only bonding if both people feel safe. Another commenter said, she's chipping away at your self-esteem, and that's not love, that's disrespect. And yes, yes, yes. Real intimacy builds you up. It does not break you down. Another commenter said, imagine if the roles were reversed. Everyone would be calling this out for what it is, which is cruel. And that is such a great point. Double standards aside, no one deserves to be humiliated by their partner under the guise of teasing. And that's the thing. If the fat jokes were not enough, let's turn up the volume, because sometimes it's not just side comments or teasing. It's full on betrayal. When body image gets tied to infidelity, the damage can feel almost impossible to repair. So let's turn to another Reddit post, okay? And in this Reddit post, the poster writes, 31-year-old male, husband cheated on 24-year-old female with his fit and skinny gym friend. I came home from work early. I'm an OB nurse, so my hours are pretty unpredictable, and found female sneakers in the garage that weren't mine. At that point, I sort of already knew what I'd be walking into. My husband has recently become very fit and has been constantly going to the gym, during which he made a female friend who he even brought home for dinner last week. She's beautiful and thin and everything I'm not, which instantly made me feel horrible. So I talked to him about it. He encouraged me to build my confidence and reassured me that he loved me and would always be loyal to me. I walked into the laundry room from the garage and sort of tiptoed around the house before going upstairs. They were having sex in our bed, with a framed picture of our wedding above the nightstand next to it. I silently left the room and got back in my car with tears streaming down my face and drove to get food and just sat in my car crying since. It's now almost 1 a.m. I walked in on them at 7 p.m. and I've returned to the hospital. He called me asking why I wasn't home, and I told him my shift is extended, but in reality, I'm laying in one of the on-call rooms, bawling my eyes out as I type this. I feel so worthless and ugly and stupid. I don't even know how to proceed. On one hand, I want to divorce him and never see him again. But on the other hand, I'm an ugly woman, and it's not like I can do better. I just want to die. I feel so gross, and the self-loathing is getting too much right now. Advice, please. Can you even imagine walking into your own home, your own bedroom, and seeing the person who promised to love you forever betray you like that? And to top it off, the woman he cheated with is everything you already feel insecure about. Fit, skinny, beautiful. That's not just cheating. That's like pouring gasoline on her deepest wound. And what kills me here is how quickly she turns it back on herself. Because she writes, I'm an ugly woman. It's not like I can do better. What? I want you to stop right there. His betrayal has nothing to do with your worth. I mean, absolutely nothing. He could have had the most conventionally attractive partner in the world, and if cheating is in his character, he would still have done it. This is not about you being ugly. It's about him being dishonest and disloyal. And quite frankly, he's just an ass. And let's sit with this image for a minute. She's in her car, she's crying, she's starving after a 12-hour hospital shift while he's in the bed with someone else. That's not just betrayal, that's cruelty layered with humiliation. And it makes sense that she's spiraling into self-loathing because his actions confirmed her deepest fear. I'm not enough. And my heart, man, it breaks for her. It really does. Now let's look at it through a counselor lens, because for her, it sounds like it triggers both abandonment wounds and shame wounds. Because she's thinking, he cheated because of my body, and I'm unworthy of love. And that's how betrayal trauma fuses with body image trauma. And for him, the gym obsession and new friendship could point to identity shifts that he didn't communicate. Sometimes people reinvent themselves, but instead of inviting their partner into the process, they push them away and find validation elsewhere. And that's not growth. What that is avoidance. And this isn't just infidelity. This is comparative betrayal. She wasn't just cheated on. She was cheated on with the exact type of woman she already feels she can't measure up to. And that multiplies the pain, because now every look in the mirror feels like proof of rejection. And here's what I want her to know. Affairs are about the betrayer's choice, not the betrayed partner's body. His disloyalty is not her fault. Her post is so heartbreaking because she says that she just wants to die. And that's trauma speaking. When betrayal hits the core of your self-worth, your nervous system, it interprets as annihilation. And then you believe that I've been rejected, so I must not deserve to exist. But this is where support is crucial. support like therapy, safe friends, family. Because if she sits in isolation with these thoughts, the shame will eat her alive. And the takeaway here is that infidelity is devastating. But when it's tied to body image, it creates a double wound of betrayal and shame. Healing means separating those two. She's not ugly. She's a woman in deep pain because her partner broke his vows. And she deserves to place the blame where it belongs. And Reddit commenters really showed up for her, so let's turn to some of those comments. One person wrote, "Cheating is never about the partner's body. It's about the cheater's choice." And that's exactly right. Affairs don't reflect the betrayed person's worth. Another commenter wrote, "You are not ugly. You are a nurse who works brutal hours and still deserves loyalty and respect." And I absolutely love this one because it reframes her identity away from shame and back into strength. Another commenter wrote, "The fact that he did it in your marital bed under your wedding photo says everything about his lack of respect. And this is 100% the truth. That detail was not accidental. It makes the betrayal hit even harder." And then another commenter wrote, "Please get help. You are not alone. You deserve to live and you deserve real love." And that right there is the heart of it. She needs support. She does not need self-blame. And y'all, if cheating is betrayal, this next story is something just as toxic. Control dressed up as self-improvement. Because sometimes the harm doesn't come from affairs. It comes from a partner slowly chipping away at your confidence under the disguise of helping you. So let's turn to that Reddit story, okay? So the Reddit poster writes, "Boyfriend keeps trying to upgrade or improve me by calling me chubby. I'm a 23-year-old female. I've been dating my boyfriend, 27-year-old male, for a year. I am 5'4" and 125 pounds. He pursued me. Slowly, he keeps making more and more negative comments about my appearance. He made me a workout and eating plan and constantly asks if I follow it. He basically wants me to go vegan. Honestly, I'm not into the vegan lifestyle and I don't eat horrible. When we ordered in yesterday, I got baked ziti. He looked at me and said, 'How could I be ordering this when we both agreed I need to lose weight?' Every time I try to dump him over this, he tells me I don't understand where he's coming from. He told me I'm average and he wants me to stand out. That he noticed that I have low self-esteem and he is trying to make me confident and happy with myself. Every day he asks if I did my workouts. He will send me photos of other girls and say if I follow what he says, I will look like that. He really pursued me and now I feel like he's killing my self-esteem. Why pursue someone so hard if you aren't that attracted to them? He told me if I lose 15 pounds, I would be perfect. He sends me pictures of women who have post-pregnancy bodies or not good bodies at all, and he tells me that they are like me and that they are chubby, not curvy. Or he will send me pictures of girls I do not consider pretty and say if I listen to him, I will look like that. I just need to lose weight. I tell him I think I'm thinner than those girls and he tells me that he has better eyes. Honestly, at this point, I don't want to break up because I feel no one will find me attractive. I feel like I want his approval. I've been wearing baggy clothes because I'm so ashamed of my body. I used to like my body, but now I'm ashamed. Why is he dating me if I'm so unattractive? How do I gain my self-esteem back? Why pursue me? I'm fuming here, okay? She's 5'4", 125 pounds, and is already healthy and beautiful body. And even if she weighed more, her worth does not change. But let's talk about what he's really doing here. He's not encouraging her. He's not helping her. He's controlling her. Slowly, bit by bit, he's making her feel like without his approval, she's nothing. What? He's literally sending her photos of other women, some with post-pregnancy bodies, Some that he says are chubby and then telling her, oh yeah, look, this is what you look like. What? Excuse me? Are your eyes broken, dude? Or are you just trying to break hers? Because that's not motivation, that's manipulation. You are a manipulator. And what kills me is how effective that this kind of abuse is. She even says, I used to like my body, but now I'm ashamed of it. I wear baggy clothes. And then she goes on to say, I don't want to break up because I feel like no one else will find me attractive. And that right there is what emotional abuse does. It makes you so small that you start believing their lies. And this isn't love, this is control. And he's trying to control her. So from a counselor's perspective, this is coercive control. He's not just giving advice, he's systematically lowering her self-esteem so that she stays dependent on him. And I'm going to break this down just a little bit. He pursued her hard, which built trust. Then he began layering in criticism, which was disguised as self-improvement. And then over time, she internalized those criticisms until she started doubting her own reality. And this right here is the cycle of emotional abuse. And for her, I hear this tapping into her self-worth wounds by her asking things like, if he pursued me, then why am I still not enough? Which creates a loop where she craves his approval more and more. And for him, I see projection. He notices her low self-esteem, and instead of nurturing her, he exploits it. He positions himself as the authority, the one who decides what's beautiful. And that right there, that's not love, that's dominance. And this type of relationship dynamic can lead to body dysmorphia by her believing her body looks far worse than it does. It can lead to anxiety and depression because she's constantly bracing herself for criticism. It can lead to learned helplessness, where she develops the belief that no one else would want her, so she might as well stay. And the truth is that you don't upgrade your partner. You either love them as they are or you let them go. Real love supports growth, but it never weaponizes shame. Her worth was never in his hands to define. So let's turn to some of these commenters, because Reddit absolutely rallied for her. So one commenter said, why pursue someone so hard if you're just going to tear them down? That's exactly right. That shows this was never about her body. It was about his control. Another commenter went on to say, this is emotional abuse. He's lowering your self-esteem so you'll never leave him. And that is 100% right. That's the playbook right there for emotional abuse. Then another commenter says, you don't need to change for him. You need to leave him and remember who you were before he broke your confidence. Yes. Healing means going back to the woman who liked her body before his voice drowned her out. And so far, we've talked about partners tearing us down directly, but what about when your body image war isn't coming from the outside, it's coming from the inside? This next story is about a woman spiraling into disordered eating and her boyfriend watching helplessly as her self-esteem crushes. So let's turn to that Reddit post. The poster says, my 23-year-old male girlfriend, 22-year-old female, diet is making her crazy. How do I reason with her? I'll just get right to it. About 2.5 weeks ago, my girlfriend decided that she wanted to lose weight. I have no idea how much. She won't tell me her start weight or any of her goals, but I'm guessing it's in the realm of 20-25 pounds. It's no secret to me that she's overweight, but I like her the way she is, and this is the only way I've ever known her. Anyways, she signed up for that Noom program, which is basically an app for counting calories from what I understand. She eats a strict 1,200 calories per day and drinks almost a gallon of water every day. In some ways, it seems to be good because I get a lot of home-cooked healthy dinners, but that's besides the point. We've also started going for long walks, 1+ miles, every other night or so, and she picked up some yoga off of YouTube. The problem is, since beginning her diet, her self-esteem has spiraled out of control. She wakes up every morning and weighs herself and then tells me that she doesn't deserve food today because I gained 0.2 pounds overnight. And that eating is overrated. Why don't you just break up with me for someone pretty? Stuff like that. This morning she texted me to say that she's been waking up an extra 30-ish minutes early before work so that she has time to get back to bed and cry after weighing herself so she doesn't burst into tears at her desk again, which is nuts. I've done a bunch of research and even met with a dietitian, which is a friend of mine, on her behalf. And I've learned more than I probably needed to know about women and hormones and how birth control affects weight loss and all of the nonsense. But she won't listen to me when I try to reason with her. I just want to tell her that her body is in shock from sudden adjustments in her eating habits and she needs to tough it out for 6 weeks. She doesn't want to hear it. She's too busy crying over a quarter of a pound and swearing up and down that she's doomed to be ugly forever. And I'm going to leave her for a skinny legend. I love her, I really do. How do I reason with her? So this one hurts in a different way because she's not being attacked by her partner. She's being attacked by her own mind. That voice in her head telling her that she's not enough is louder than the love that's right in front of her. And let's talk about the 0.2 pounds. 0.2. That's water weight, that's hormones, that's literally nothing. But in her mind, it's everything. And when you're in that place, logic doesn't matter. Her boyfriend could show her charts, dietitian advice, but the truth is they won't touch the shame that she feels. She's starving herself, she's crying alone, and believing that he's going to leave her for a skinny legend. That's what diet culture does. It convinces us that our worth equals our weight. And if you're not shrinking, then you're failing. And that belief can wreck even the healthiest relationships. And from a counseling perspective, what we're seeing here is disordered eating and body dysmorphia taking root. Because for her, this is an inner shame wound exploding. I can hear her belief that my body makes me unlovable. And for him, this creates helplessness trauma because he loves her, but he can't fix her thoughts. And that can make him feel powerless and frustrated. And the truth is, you can't reason someone out of body shame because shame, it does not speak logic. It speaks fear. And when she says things like, I don't deserve food, or I just want to cry before work, that's her nervous system locked in survival mode. And this is a sign of eating disorder pattern. Restrictive dieting, obsessive weighing, distorted self-talk, these are red flags that she needs support beyond her partner. She needs therapy, possibly a team approach with a doctor, a dietitian, and a counselor to reframe her relationship with food and self-worth. And here's the bigger truth. Diets that are rooted in punishment, they don't work. Because even if the weight comes off, the shame, it stays. And shame always finds a new target. What she needs is compassion, not calorie charts. And what he needs is to understand that he can support her, but he can't heal this for her. That healing has to come from within, and most likely with professional help. And Reddit's commenters' responses were powerful. So let's turn to a few of those. One commenter said, you can't logic with someone out of self-hatred. Encourage therapy, not diet changes. And that's exactly right. This isn't a willpower problem, it's a wound. Another commenter writes, a woman eating 1,200 calories a day and crying over 0.2 pounds is not dieting. She's starving herself. And yes, that's a line between healthy change and harmful restriction. Another commenter wrote, the best thing you can do is be supportive, not corrective. Love her, but encourage her to get help. And that right there, that's the heart of it. He can't be her therapist. He can only be her partner. And this shows us something really important. Body image battles don't always come from outside criticism. Sometimes they come from inside, where the hardest critic is our own mind. And if you thought control and ultimatums were bad, this next story takes body shaming to an entirely different level. Because sometimes the person tearing you down isn't just cruel in words, they create a whole world of manipulation to keep you small. So let's turn to this Reddit post. So, this man states, I'm a 23-year-old male, gained 70 pounds and ruined my relationship. Is it okay to ask my girlfriend, 24-year-old female, to stop making mean comments about it? I just want to start out by saying I don't blame her at all. She's a great girl, and I pushed our relationship to a breaking point by gaining so much weight that I am no longer attractive. It's all entirely my fault, so I'm not angry with her. It's just the frequency and increasing nastiness of her comments that are starting to get to me a little. Maybe I don't have the right to feel this way. I don't know. I gained almost 70 pounds in our 2-year relationship, mostly due to depression, drinking, and letting up on my previous strict diet. When we started dating, I was fit but a bit chunky at about 190, and I'm 5'11". I had just lost about 40 pounds. I gained that back plus 25 more pounds during our relationship and got to 258 pounds at 5'11" at my biggest. I have now lost 75 pounds on a diet. I'm disgusting. I can't even look at myself. She brought it up after I had gained 20 pounds, and then the comments got more frequent, and now she makes probably about 3+ comments, insults a day about my weight. Here are some examples of the things that she has done or said. I know these may seem bad, but I'm not trying to demonize her. She is great otherwise. She refers to me as morbidly obese boyfriend to her friends and anyone else behind my back. I am morbidly obese, I think. So she's not wrong, but it's very embarrassing. I guess I deserve that. We had an argument, which is rare, where she called me a disgusting fat pig, and she said she was counting down the days until I died of obesity. She apologized for that one, and we had a good talk about things after, but she soon went back to the comments. She buys me clothes that are too small. She says it's not on purpose, but I think it is. And then she says something like, wow, I can't believe you've grown out of that already. One time, she made me come with her to the shop to return a pair of jeans and swap for a bigger size. She made a massive fuss about it with the employees and basically just humiliated me in front of everyone in the store. She said she would only have sex with me if I lost 70 pounds. She says she can't help but find fat extremely unattractive. I do understand that, and it's okay to have preferences. I'm doing my best to reach that goal, and I want to lose even more than that. She calls me greedy and says I have no self-control. She isn't wrong, but she will make me food. Then if I eat it all, she will say I have no self-control. I never eat the full amount anymore. So I guess that tactic worked. If she makes me food, I'll eat only a quarter of it so she doesn't say anything. I get anxiety whenever I eat in front of people now. I get like sweaty palms and think everyone is looking at me. I went out for Christmas dinner with my friends and only ended up eating a few bites because I was so anxious. I know that's a good thing and I should be thanking her for that, but I don't want that anxiety to stay even when I lose the weight. This isn't her fault though, obviously. She is not responsible for my anxiety. She tries to control everything I eat. I am on a diet and lost 7 pounds in about 2 weeks. Not much I know, but I am going to start a water fast at the start of the new year. She didn't force me to do that, but I hate myself to the point where I would rather be dead than live in this body any longer. So I want to lose weight as quickly as possible as I can. I know it's not her fault at all. I ruined the relationship when I gained the weight, not her. Her reaction is understandable. She doesn't want a fat boyfriend. It must have been frustrating to watch me gain all of the weight. I feel terrible for what I've done to her. She always says how much happier I will be if I lose the weight, and I know she's right. It's just I can't help but feel hurt and almost afraid of her sometimes. Not like exactly afraid, just like the afraid that I'm physically repulsing her. I unconsciously suck in my stomach whenever I'm around her. Sometimes she treats me like I'm the most disgusting thing she's ever seen. I agree that I am physically repulsive, but I can't help but to hurt sometimes. Should I just accept it? That's what I've been doing so far. However, since I've started losing weight, is it okay to ask her to stop making comments? Can we pause? Because this man blames himself for being mistreated. He says, it's my fault, not hers. I deserve it. And that right there, that's not love. That's emotional abuse that's gone inside his head. And then this is where my jaw hit the floor, because in his update, which I didn't read because it's a really long one, he finds out that she got a burner phone and she used it to send him anonymous texts calling him names. She literally created fake numbers to secretly harass him, which reminds me of that Netflix documentary, Unknown Number, the high school catfish, I believe it's called. But What? That's not a girlfriend. That's a villain origin story. Like, who does that to someone that they claim to love? Like, who? Who does that? That's wow. And here's the heartbreaking part. Even after discovering that, he still wrote things like, she's great otherwise, or it's not her fault that I ruined the relationship by gaining the weight. No, man, no, okay? His weight gain didn't give her permission to become cruel, manipulative, and abusive. That's not a partnership, that's punishment disguised as love. And from a counselor's perspective, this is a clear example of abuse wrapped in body shaming. For him, I can hear that he has a deep shame wound by him saying things like, I am disgusting, I don't deserve love. That's why he accepted the treatment that no one, and I mean no one, should tolerate. And for her, this is coercive control. The comments, the humiliation, even the anonymous harassment are all tactics to keep him dependent and ashamed so he wouldn't leave. And the saddest part of it all is that he truly believed he deserved this treatment because of his body. And that's what abuse does. It convinces you that cruelty is normal and that your flaws are to blame. And this story highlights the toxic cycle between depression, weight gain, shame, and abuse. He gained the weight due to depression and drinking, which made him feel unworthy. And then she reinforced that unworthiness daily through cruelty, which deepened his depression. And that's not support, that's entrapment. The anonymous text revealed something even darker, which is emotional sadism. She didn't just criticize him face to face, she wanted him to feel attacked even when she wasn't there. And that's not love, that's abuse. And the truth, gaining weight does not forfeit the right to be treated with respect, period. His weight was never the issue. The issue was the partner who used it as ammunition to control and degrade him. And the fact that he eventually left, changed the locks and ended it, and started focusing on therapy, that's survival, that's courage, because leaving abuse often feels harder than staying in it. So the Reddit commenters really nailed it here. So let's turn to some of these comments. One commenter wrote, "This isn't love, this is abuse. You don't deserve cruelty just because your body changed." And that's exactly right. Weight gain doesn't erase your worth. Another commenter went on to write, "A partner who buys you clothes too small just to humiliate you isn't supporting you. They're controlling you." Yes, and that right there is intentional humiliation. Another commenter went on to write, "The burner phone shows this was never about helping you. It was about breaking you." And that is 100% true, because that detail right there reveals her true motives. So wow, across all these stories, whether it was comments, jokes, comparisons, ultimatums, or full-blown abuse, the theme is the same. Body image became the weapon. But here's the truth that I need you to hear. Your worth has never been tied to a number on the scale. Not 1 pound lost or gained has ever made you more or less deserving of love, respect, or safety. If someone uses your body as a reason to shame, control, or betray you, that's not about your body. That's about their wounds, their cruelty, and their inability to love unconditionally. You deserve a partner who protects your insecurities, not exploits them. You deserve love that grows with you, not one that shrinks you down. Because body image and love is never just about the body. It's about safety, honesty, and respect. So subscribe today to hear more of these awesome, great Reddit stories and us break it down counselor style.